Hi guys, Toger here with a new video, and this video we're going to talk about PTR changes currently in 10.2. They have actually huge changes for most classes. I feel like they're still going to change a lot of things till the end of 10.1.7 and 10.2 whenever it's going to launch. It's probably 5 weeks until like launch day, so they have still a lot of cycles to go through. I already talked about the new title for rated social, so I don't know if it's after this video or before this video, but you will have to see. And we're going to talk right away, like step by step, what is changing for every single class currently on 10.2. We have Mythic Plus. The Everbloom will be available for this week's Mythic Plus task, so if you want to check it out on BTR, you can do that. Battleground Blitzbrawl, they did change a few things. Slightly increased resource rate from bases, so it means that the game is going to be a bit faster, and added a timer widget that will display during the 15 seconds period when bases are inactive until the next set are active. All rune buff response rates decreased to 60 seconds instead of 90 seconds, so again, faster pace, and various pair power runes have been added to Iron Storm, Battle for Gilneas, Arati Basin, and Deepwind Gorge. All good changes in my books. Death Knights, Frost DKs. We have still a lot of changes on the tier set, which is a fun tier set, but I don't know how applicable it will be for PvP. But we have chances where it's going to be good. But again, minus 50% PvP, like PvP power to it is a bit like dumb, but it is what it is. Set bonuses. Buff duration increased to 12 seconds instead of 10 seconds, and self bounces now also granted damage increase, which is a great thing. Fixed an issue with chill streak not bouncing into the Death Knight when used against enemies with a large hitbox, and fixed an issue with self bounces now granting the bonus rune or cooldown reduction, which is not going to be applied only on damage. There is a few changes for demon hunters. I made a video about it, like about a whole rework, but this is like added to it. Spectral sight cooldown reduced to 30 seconds, so it was 1 minute 30 seconds, and haste now affects his cooldown, so again it's going to be quite good. Demonic duration for demon form reduced to 5 seconds. A Legion Decree has been moved to the Demon Hunter class tree. Forward to the Flame also moved to the Demon Hunter class tree. So again, you have way more choices to be made on the Havoc tree now. So you don't have to go for Forward to the Flame or Legion Decree. You can now do that on the class tree. But Forward to Flame now increases Spectral Sight cooldown by 30 seconds. So it becomes a 1 minute CD instead of a 1.5 minute CD, which is going to be way more usable, I think, if it's a 1 minute CD. But also, it will be affected by haste. Now, currently, Havoc Demon Hunters don't stack haste, they stack mastery, so I don't know how big that could be. It might be that it's maybe a bit more interesting to build haste. I don't know. I think it's really difficult to know. I think mastery still is the one thing that is too strong on Havoc Demon Hunter. I think mastery, I already said that multiple videos, mastery is just too strong as a stat for every single class, and it feels like you have to actually build mastery if you want to be prevalent with your class, because everything is like baked into mastery, and they're saying, oh no, we're not going to buff the base of the spell because we have mastery there to band-aid it. But that's a bad thing, because again, it means that every single stat that you want to allocate to is to mastery or haste. Sometimes if the mastery stat is a bad stat, for example, BM Hunters mastery is just not a good stat, because it doesn't apply the damage to the hunter themselves, but to the pets only. So it means that there is just less potential for good damage. But anyways, Hunt initial damage increased by 22%, and damage over time damage increased by 30%, so it's going to be hit like a truckload amount of damage. Sigil of Flame now moved to Demon Hunter baseline. I think that's the Avengers Demon Hunter kind of thing. Initial damage increased by 200%. Live by the Glaive. When you parry an attack and or have one of your attacks parried, restores 2% of max health and 10 fury, and also only occurs 5 seconds. So 5 seconds ICD. I don't know how prevalent it can be in PvP. We will have to see. There's a few talents removed here. Unrestrained Fury is now a 1 point, increases 20 Fury, so that's a buff. That's also a buff. Shadow Restoration if you are playing with that. Illidari knowledge also a buff, in my opinion. For 1 point you get 5% instead of 6% for 2 points. Will of the Illidari is now a 1 rank talent, increases max health by 5% instead of 6%. Again, more points to spend elsewhere, so I think it's a good thing. But they nerfed Rush of Chaos. Now you have to put 2 points to get that 1 minute CD on Metamorphosis. I think that's just a power creep that they actually added on the class tree, so you can actually like feel like, look, it's not going to be out of hand talent wise. Quicken sigils no longer reduces cooldown of sigil skills. Erratic Fellheart now reduces cooldown of full rush and infernal strike by a little bit less. Flames of Fury has been added now to ranked talent. Sigil of Flame deals 35-70% increased damage and generates 1 to 2 fury per target. I don't know how much damage it can actually do for Havoc, but I think it's going to be quite nice, especially with the mastery that is available to them. Havoc Demon Hunter, so they removed Dancing with Fate. They kind of reworked Blind Fury. Now it is Blind Fury now increases Blade Dance's final slash damage bonus by 25 to 50%. So I wonder how it will work, but I'll have to test it on the PTR. Demon Hide increases magical damage dealt by 5%, also reduces the physical damage taken by 5%. Again, passive damage reduction, very strong. For 2 seconds after using Fell Rush, activating it again will dash backwards towards your initial location. It's also very easier to actually deal damage with Fell Rush now, because you're not going to be out of position. So you can actually deal damage with your Fell Rush that is augmented because of emulating aura, and then you can go back to your previous locations. Again, you can also skill that, so if people are following you, after 2 seconds you can just skill back. Again, it's not as strong as monks. People were saying like they get like the monk TP, which is not, because it's only for 2 seconds, so you have to reactivate it directly, so it's not going to be busted in PvP. I think it's just a good QL, so quality of life change for demon hunters in general, like Havoc demon hunters. Scars of Suffering, I think this is a quite strong talent. For just 1 point you're getting 4% versatility. It's quite big in my opinion. It's like 4% increased damage overall, which is, it's quite nice. And also 2% less damage taken. Each time you deal chaos damage, there is a 7.77% chance to duplicate 33% of the damage, up to 3 to 7 total times. It's a 2-rank talent, so I don't know how good it can be. It's only a 7% chance, but it's duplicating 33%. So again, every time you're going to deal damage with your eye beam, with your immolating aura, whatever, I think it's also chaos damage if I'm not mistaken. It can be very strong, I think. We'll have to see. Or maybe it's only fire damage, so I don't know. But again, duplicating damage is generally very strong. Eye beam damage increased by 15%. Fell barrage damage increased by 100%. Isolate Prey now causes Immolating Aura to always critical strike instead of like taking 30% increased damage. Throglaive now triggers Cycle of Hatred's effects when Furious Throws is selected, so I don't know what it is. I'm sorry guys. Soul Rend is now a 1-rank talent and causes 100% of damage to be dealt over time as Chaos instead of 120%, but it's only like a 2-rank talent, so I think it's a buff because you have 1 more talent to spend elsewhere, so it will be easier to actually like build something you would like to go for. Shattered Destiny now increases demon form duration per 10 fury spent. So I want to say, did you see on my last video about the rework for Havoc Demon Hunter, they only had like 3 2-rank titles. Now they removed one at the bottom and they added one, I think, at the top end, which is a 2-rank, which is not something you have to take. So again, it makes you way more versatile with your choices that you can make as a Havoc Demon Hunter. So I think it's a great thing for them. Vengeance Demon Hunter, I'm going to say I know nothing about them, so you can read it so you can pause the video and read what the changes are. I'm going to say that it's probably for the better. Not often they're going to rework something to make it worse normally, so there you have. And then you have Druid. They removed the change that they did on Orbital Strike. Now it's just going to be added again to Celestial Alignments, making it a 2-minute CD and having the Orbital Strike. I think it's alright. I think, again, I know what they wanted to do, and now they reworked the mastery to actually be applied mostly at all times, and you have a portion of the damage that is actually going to be added to the Sunfire and to the Moonfire aspect. So, for example, you get 5% nature damage and arcane damage at all times, and if you add Sunfire and Moonfire, you will get 2.5% increased damage to nature and 2.5% increased damage to arcane. So you can actually blast from the get-go, and you don't really need a Sunfire or Moonfire to do your blasting. It's still recommended because you have a talent that if you have 3 dots, you get like 10% more damage. So it's going to be still something you would like to do in PvP. But if someone dispels like very, very heavily and you have no Sunfire or Moonfire, you can still blast your whole damage rotation and still do some great damage. I think, again, Mastery is a problem. They're going to make you go for Mastery anyways because it's just so strong how they made Mastery a thing for Balanced Druid. I liked before whenever Haste was an option. Now it feels like full Mastery for Feral, for Resto Druid, and also for Boomkin. So I don't know, I feel like they're taking away our agency to make choices because, again, the choices are so strong to be made that if you're taking something else that is subpar, it is miles away from the main choice. So it's a bit sad. I think they should really rework Mastery to a point where it's interesting to take, but it's not like an insta-lock for every single class. Right now, for every single class, except a few ones, like for example, Affliction Warlock, Destruction Warlock, and even then, Destruction Warlock I play full Mastery because it's busted how much damage it can produce for yourself. But I don't know, they need to do something about that. Friend of the Phase tooltip changed to when a fairy dragon is summoned, your spells deal 10% increased damage for 20 seconds. Yeah, I think that's more logical, I think. There's a tooltip consistency change, not a fictional change. Okay, that's just consistent. Whatever, okay. Orbital strike is reverted to its original design and location in your talent tree. Yeah, like I said. Wall mushrooms damage increased by 10%, so I think it can be interesting. And positions of the ethereal kindling and lunar shrapnel talents have been swapped. I think that those are like the starfall and moonfire changes, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Feral Druids, rampant ferocity damage increased by 10%. Again, quite nice. It's the AoE one, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Feral Druids can cast Innervating Cut Form. That's great for PvE. I don't know if you're playing Innervate in PvP though. Relentless Predator now reduces the energy cost of Ferocious Bite by 10% instead of 20%, so it's a little nerf. And also another nerf on Apex Predator. Chances to activate it against a single target is reduced to 7.2%. But the rate is activates against additional targets is increased, so you want to have multiple like rips on everyone, so you can actually get Apex Predator way more consistent. But if you are using it in single target, it will be nerfed than current state, for example. So I think it's a good thing, especially for PvE. But for PvP, I think I don't know if you're playing that except for AoE builds. But anyways, if you're AoEing, you will have some better procs anyways. Restoration Druids got a few changes on the mana side. It's more efficient, pretty much. Augmentation Evoker now clears, that's for PvE changes. And Prescience now has 2 charges. Devastation Evokers got a reduced magic damage taken increase. Attuned to the Dream increase, also healing done and healing received also increase. So it's a buff to survivability. Preservation no longer occurs from Emerald Blossoms that are triggered from Echo. And Fluttering Sling Sailing has been increased by 20%, so I don't know how big that is, I'm sorry. There is a big change actually here for Hunters. Hunter's Mark now increases all damage taken by the target by 5%, while target is above 80% of maximum health. So that's going to be quite interesting also for PvP, because then you will always have to apply Hunter's Mark. It is a GCD though, so you have to maybe do it while you're camouflaged. But again, I think 5% increased damage to someone that is 80% maximum health is going to be noticeable, but it's not like the end of the world for everyone, because again, you're most likely, if you're the target, always below 80% anyways, I think, in PvP. Fix an issue that prevented the set bonus from affecting your pet's critical strike chance and critical strike damage from survival, the set bonus like number 2. That prevented the set bonus from affecting the first periodic event of Fury of the Eagle. And they changed something good that actually was on the video for maximum. Like the hunter that came on the live stream. They said that it was a bit wasteful to have like a generating of one charge, because then you will have always to use it whenever it has like no charges. But now causes your next wildfire bomb to not consume a charge, so you can actually spam it pretty efficiently. So it's going to be a good thing. The set bonus contained explosion buff now refreshes per tick of Fury of the Eagle. Now again, it's a bit wasteful that we don't have a PvP set, because we don't really know how it works. 50% of that, it is like going to give you a half of a charge of, or is it going to be per tick or per 2 ticks? It's very hard to know what's going to happen in PvP for those kinds of sets. Arcane mages, now clear on encounter start. A lot of changes for mistweavers, but there was already a blue post about it. So they fixed a lot of the survivability kind of thing, but they kind of took away their agency. So now it's additional heals if excess healing elixirs are generated. Healing elixir now restores 20% of maximum health. Now automatically triggers at 40% health, so it takes away your agency. I think for PvP it might be interesting, but for PvE I don't think so. Expel Harm now costs 1.4% base mana, heals for way more, now deals damage also for way more. Expel Harm's damage range increased to 20 yards. Strength of Spirit now increases the healing of Expel Harm by up to 30% instead of 100%, so it's not like a mandatory talent anymore. Profound Rebuttal now increases the critical healing of Expel Harm by 15% instead of 50%. Again, something you don't have to take it anymore if you don't want to. Expel Harm is also very hard to now cast. It's not really hard, but it's like a bit more clunky, because you cannot cast it while using Soothing Mist, so it's unfortunate. Unison now duplicates 75% of the healing done instead of 100%. Enveloping Breath healing decreased by 20%, that's a nerf. Evacuating Mist healing visual is now only visible to the caster. Rising Sun Kick damage increase for PvE. And Calming Presence now reduces damage taken by 6%, but does not apply in PvP. A few changes here. It's a lot of bug fixes, a lot of those redesigns for windwalkers. Pretty much like melee abilities have a chance to grant blackout reinforcement now instead of only melee attacks, but also free speeding crane kicks grant blackout reinforcement as well. Blackout kicks empowered blackout kicks reduces cooldown of Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, Strike of the Windlord, and also Whirling Dragon Punch by 3 seconds. That's quite big. And spinning crane kicks cast during Serenity now correctly grant blackout reinforcement. Blackout reinforcement is correctly removed at the start of Mythic Plus dungeons and raid encounters, and also blackout reinforcement can no longer be cancelled. Usage of cancel aura macros on Dance of Chi-Ji without casting a spinning crane kick will no longer grant blackout reinforcement. A lot of nerfs for Holy Paladins, unfortunately. Sanctified Place, which is the stamina and the armor increase on the class tree, is now 40% less effective for Holy Paladins. Blessing of Winter now restores 10% of over 30 seconds instead of like 15. Holy Reverberation, which is a set bonus, second, like the 2-piece, is going to be reduced by 25%. But now it correctly functions with mastery, so I guess it depends on how much mastery you have. Now it increases haste by 25% for 5 seconds in addition to its current effect, which is on the 4 set. I don't know what the 4 set is, I'm very sorry. But 25% haste is quite nice. Blade of Vengeance now functions as an addition to your single target Blade of Justice rather than replacing it. Okay, interesting. Discipline, we have a few changes, which is the most important change is Harsh Discipline has been redesigned. Power Word Radiance causes your next penance to fire 1 or 2 additional bolts, stacking up to 2 times depending on how many ranks you put. It's going to be way more consistent instead of a chance to, because again 60% is big, but it can also give you no charge, like no increased penances for a long time, so I think that's a good thing. Ultimate Penitence, which is the angel kind of thing that goes up and goes full penitence mode, that is buffed to 80% spell power for damage at 330% spell power instead of 206%. It's going to be useful with some 4-minute CD and depends on how many people you hit, so it's not really as consistent. Holy Priest, an issue, that's a bug fix, so I don't care. Inescapable Torment now triggers at 35% reduced effectiveness from additional Shadow Word deaths caused by Amridarasil, which is the 4 set or the 2 set bonus. But now the two set now triggers additional shadow ward deaths at 35% effectiveness, and it was 50%. In PvP it will be 17.5%, so I don't know how strong it will be, but it was very satisfying to use in the Battleground Blitz SOLOQ mode. Assassination Rogue, so they decided to remove the active exsanguinate, and they chose to stay with the passive one. I don't like the passive one, it is what it is. I think it's more of a PvE kind of thing, but whatever. Energy threshold changed to 50% of max energy instead of flat 150. I think that's logical because not everyone wants to play with 300 energy. Maybe you're not going to play with 300 energy. Energy consumed reduced to 3, and damage multiplicated reduced to 20% instead of 25%. Sudden demise bleed damage triggers value reduced to 150% of remaining health, so it's even more nerfed. And now confirm benefits correctly from Zoldyck recipe bonus. Wait. That's a buff, I think, no? How lower the remaining health, how better, I think, no? I think that's a buff. It reads like a nerf, but it's a buff, so you're going to get executed anyways. Indiscriminate Carnage now practices targets without Rupture and Garrote. I think that's illogical. Outlaw, there's a new talent now, increases the range of between the eyes and pistol shots by 10 yards. I think that's quite nice. Pistol shot reduces damage you take from the target by 5%. So it's going to make you a bit more tanky. Killing spree base delay before haste between strikes reduced to 0.3 seconds per combo point, whilst 0.4 seconds. So it's going to be even better with haste. I want to test it and see how strong it can be. Subtlety, they get a few changes which are quite nice. Terrifying Pace, which is a movement speed increase whenever you're using Shuriken Storm strikes at 3 or more targets. That's more of a PvE kind of thing. Exhilarating Execution. Finishing moves heal you for 3% of damage done. Very strong. Overhealing is converted to shielding, absorbing up to 10% of your maximum health. So again, Subtlety will be the most tanky spec out there for PvP, basically. Shadow Techniques energy regenerated increases to 4 instead of 3, so again, more energy. Tooltip has been updated in functional changes. Now allows finishing moves to use Shadow Technique stacks only when it will refresh combo points to full. Shadowcraft tooltip has been updated. Ephemeral Bonds bonus for healing received reduced to 8%, was 12%. Alright, that's a nerf. Let's see, there's a few changes on Shaman. I will probably make a separate video about it, but it's very good. So Elemental Shaman, they got a nerf on split elements. I think that's a good thing because it gives you more build variety. Against split elements, it was very strong in PvE and PvP because you could basically have 100% increased haste. If you did it correctly in PvP, you could easily go above 100% if you're building haste. So it was very strong. Again, having more haste makes you actually have lava surges like procs every single time. It becomes very strong. So that's a nerf. I think it's deserved. There is now a correct change on the 4 set. Again, they redesigned. So basically, lava burst will burn the target, but also after consuming Primordial Wave, your next 3 casts of lava burst also hits up to 3 additional targets. So you could actually see it as 3 Primordial Waves in a row, and it's going to be very strong. I think, again, in PvP, it's only 50%, I think, but it's still going to be very much a lot of cleave, and it's going to be a big buff, like, overall. Further Beyond is nerfed. Before, you can actually increase the duration at Eternum, pretty much. Now it's up to 150% of the original duration of Ascendance. So that's a PvE thing. Again, Primordial Wave can no longer be used to heal a friendly ally. I think nobody really used it, but if they used it, it's probably misclicking. So now you cannot really misclick anymore. And Enhancement Shaman is pretty big. I want to make a separate video about it, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Several talents has been moved to a different place in the talent tree. It's actually very big, it makes you a lot easier to take a few talents, and build variety are going to be a bit higher, but they need to do extra changes. I'm going to talk about it on the next video, probably. Starter build updated due to the pathing changes above. Elemental Assault, which is a big thing, by the way, can now also generate Maelstrom weapon charges from Ice Strike, Lava Lash, rather than only Storm Strike. So it means that it's really useful to have a lot of maelstrom weapon charges by not only spamming storm strikes but also having an ice strike or a lava lash, so you can actually like generate reliably maelstrom weapon instead of like having RNG doing for you. So I think it's a good thing. Legacy of the Frost Witch, again, quality of life change, but it's going to be a lot bigger for also just making builds. Will also increase frost damage instead of only physical, so it's going to be quite big. Primal Module Wave can no longer be used for healing a target, so it is what it is. Also for Restoration Druid, by the way. Spirit Elements is also a nerf for Enhancement Shaman, although for Enhancement Shaman we didn't really play that deep, so I think that's going to be alright. Tempest Strike, which is a new passive that is made to actually remove a bit of bottom bloat. Now, I don't know how people are going to play around it, if they're going to play it in PvP or not. Personally, I will try it. It does around 35% of spell power or attack power, it doesn't matter, of your damage, so it's going to be adding a bit of damage. You have to see Elemental Blast is around 180% spell power, and this is going to be 35%, but it's way more applicable, and it will be applied to every single thing you're going to do, which is Storm Strike, Lava Lash, and Ice Strike. So it's up to you to see if it's going to be better at the long run to play with Tempest Strike, or if it's better to play with Elemental Blast to have the chance of getting a crit on it and maybe obliterate someone. Again, if you're playing Lightning Bolts anyways, like a Lightning Bolt build, it's a button bloat. You don't really use Elemental Blast that much. The damage is quite similar anyway, so maybe you could play this and then also your Lightning Bolt, so you have more damage basically than what you had before. 2 set, and if initiated prevented the set bonus Feral Spirit from granting the player more maelstrom weapon generation. That's actually a big thing, because I did notice it on the PTR. Fix an issue that prevented the set bonus from changing your Feral Spirit into a Spirit Raptor. If you left for that, that's a thing, but it's a thing. Affliction Warlock, Umbra Fire Killing now lasts 20 seconds. I think that's the set, the 4 set. Demonology Warlock Soul Strike has been redesigned. Your primary Felguard learns Soul strikes to soul of the target, dealing shadow damage. So it becomes a passive pretty much. You cannot really activate it anymore. Shadow Invocation, Bioscorch Bombers deal 20% increased damage, and your spells now have a chance to summon a Bioscorch. So they separated those two talents. I don't know if it's better or not, but whatever. Felon Wotlk Invocation Soul Strike deals 20% increased damage and generates 1 Soul Shard. So basically you have to take 2 talents for the same thing, whatever. But they added something interesting, I guess. The cast time of Summon Valfield is reduced by 0.5 seconds, so it's easier to cast it. And your Valfield now deals fire damage to nearby enemies every 1 second while active. So I don't know how strong it can be, but it doesn't feel like it's very strong. Spiteful Reconstitution, Implosion deals 10% increased damage. Consuming a demonic core has a chance to summon a wild imp. Implosion in PvP is very hard to use, man. Imperator is now a 1 talent, rank talent. Malefic Impact is now a 1 rank talent. Pitlord's Fill Seeker damage increased by 40%. That might be strong. I don't know, man. Pitlord. Volatile Fins has been removed. Power Siphon now prioritize wild imps instead of imp gang bosses. And empowered by 7 demonic tyrants. 2 set has been redesigned. What changed? I don't feel like something changed. Nothing changed. 4 set redesigned, and in my opinion nothing changed, except now it's a 4 enemies instead of 5. Or shadow damage to a single enemy. Oh, okay, so there is also like single target, I guess. Okay, that's alright. Fury, that's actually a big nerf. Reckless Abundance Blood buff now shares its cooldown with Bloodthirst, so you cannot really do a Bloodthirst, Rampage, Blood buff directly, because it will be on CD, I think. But I feel like it's very minimal. It's not going to feel too much. It's a nerf, but I don't feel like it's too much. I think you still are going to play the same builds, because they made Crushing Blow literally crushing useless, because it's really useless to use it, but whatever. Unfortunately, because I love Crushing Blow, but whatever. Druids, they got a few changes on the PvP side of things. So now it is applied to mastery. The starburst damage per day reduces 25% in PvP combat. So overall, it will be staying the same. Maybe a bit more damage with mastery. We'll have to see. Monk expel damage, expel harm damage is now reduced by 50% in PvP combat. So they nerfed it because they buffed it. So pretty much it will stay the same. So it's boring, but whatever. Mistweaver, refreshing breeze has been removed. And that's it. So those are the changes. Overall, I'm very happy with the changes that they actually occur and what they're changing. Now, what I would like to see is actual changes to Frost Decay. I think a rework could be nice, but I don't know if they are going to do that. I feel like they're very happy of it. I think they could change a few things on the warrior side of things. I think they could also change the self-healing of Retribution Paladin. I think it's way too little, and it's more shielding than anything else. I would like to see, again, the utility kind of thing for hybrids, which is not going to happen for Retribution Paladin, unfortunately. I think they should also change a few things to enhancement shaman. Again, the pathing and the points that you have to allocate for certain builds are a bit like unfortunate. So I hope they are going to change that. Elemental shaman, I think that they maybe need to change a few paths so you can actually have something fresh. I would like to see changes for marksmanship hunter as well in the talent tree. I think there are still a few things that they can change, but I don't know if they're going to do that. You have like basically 5 weeks until 10.2, but hopefully Blizzard will find a way to make it better. But anyways, excited times, and yeah, hopefully we're going to play 10.2 very close to end of October. Again, thank you. Bye.